Hi, Carl Brown here. How are you doing? Good to be with you again. Welcome to the channel. And you know what? Here we are, moving halfway through the year already. So what we're going to look at is that now that COVID is slowly going in and out, we're losing it. It's here, but yeah, not in a hurry, but it's going to be around with us. And we're looking at destinations to travel. Where are we going? Everything is opening up. It's the holiday season. People want to travel. So let's see where we're going to go. For me, let's go to Guyana. And the reason why I say that, because at the moment, it's the best place apart from other destinations which are being advertised. You've got the Caribbean, but again, there's no place like home. So let's get home. Let's go home. And it's not going to be that difficult to get to Guyana, because one of the things is that while the COVID and the pandemic was happening, the Guyana Tourism Authority and the private sector was still busy preparing and ensuring that when you do happen to arrive there, your stay and your visit will be a pleasurable and memorable one. Also, I must say a big thank you to Jenna at Emerging Destinations Rediscover Guyana, along with the Guyana Tourism Authority. They have been doing some very good webinars, and for those of you who have never or have been to Guyana for a long time, they have got some very informative information there, some good information that you can look into. I'll probably be focusing on those webinars, also which has been presented by Nicola Balaram, who is no longer with the GTA right now, but did a fantastic job along with Jenna and Emerging Destinations. So you can get an idea of when you visit Guyana, what there is and what there is in place for you and what Guyana has to offer. There are quite a few areas to look at, and which I'm going to just highlight and bring about that you can have a look into. Also, I must say that the rules are changing of traveling. I mean, it's very stressful to travel right now, because you've got to go through so many tests, and if you're not, countries are bringing in areas, if you've not had your vaccines, if you've not been vaccinated, then you're not going to be allowed to enter, or you probably have to get a test done while you're out. It's been ever so stressful. And Guyana has been updating, trying to keep up as well, thanks to Gord Mosley and also Guyana News Source. I will just bring an extract of the updated information that has been presented there, so you can follow. So for that, let's jump in, and first of all, let's look at the Emerging Destinations along with Jenna and Nicola Balaram, and your visit. When you go to Guyana, what is there for you going home there, even though as a visitor, those of you returning home to visit your family, but what you can do. Let's dig in.
To get to Guyana from some of our key markets, which is in the US, Canada, UK, and Germany, it takes about 5 hours from Miami, 6 hours from New York, 8 hours from Toronto, about 18 to 19 from the UK, and about the same from Germany. You can also connect to about 14 destinations in the US through Copa Airlines, which transits through Panama City. And that takes just about 8 to 9 hours, because you do have to take 2 flights. Some of the airlines that are currently serving Guyana, I know 2020 did put a bit of a halt on it, but we're lucky to end off 2020 in a good note and keep these airlines for 2021. So Guyana is blessed with a lot of nature and wildlife experiences. It's a country filled with rainforest, tropical pristine rainforest, as well as mountains and savanna grasslands. We are an adventure destination as well. You can do horseback riding, kayaking, mountain climbing, wildlife spotting, bird watching, which does cross over into our nature and wildlife pillar. You can also learn a lot about our history and culture, how Guyana was first ruled by the British and got independence in 1966, how 3 different ethnic races or cultures came to Guyana and now form this melting pot of beautiful diversity that we have here. The Dutch forts, when we were, just before we were independent, how the Dutch and the British fought over the initial country, as well as our indigenous community-led and owned tourism product, which is one of our biggest and best packages here in Guyana. So conservation tourism focuses on a lot of the activities that we have that is tied to our nature and wildlife products. We do have a caiman tagging and caiman preservation experience. We do have a lot of projects with communities and with donor agencies that also look to preserve species such as the giant anteater, the arapaima, the red siskin, and also Guyana is a big destination for safe travelers. These are scientific, academic, volunteer, and educational travelers that typically tend to travel on the more off-peak seasons, but they do have a great experience and they do help us to learn more about our country and more about how we can protect what's already here. Our last pillar, and by definitely not the smallest, is birding. So while it is nestled under nature and wildlife, Guyana is the destination that has 820 species of birds, even more. And a lot of travelers that we get here are also birders as well. They get to see some of the star species in Guyana, which is just endemic to the Guyana Shield, which is Guyana and some of our neighbors. And some of the species you won't find anywhere in the world or might not as easily spot anywhere else in the world. When you are traveling to Guyana, you do have about a 7-step process. So you first have to book your ticket with your airline of choice. We do require a negative PCR test to be taken at least within 7 days of travel. If you take your test and it's negative within 72 hours of travel, that's 3 days, you do not have to take a second test upon arrival. However, if you do arrive in Guyana with a test that was done between 4 to 7 days, you will be asked to retest here at the Guyana International Airport. Passengers will be asked to bear the cost of this test, and tests can be done on ground here. It can be paid in US, in Guyana dollars, or they do have a credit system as well. You also must complete the passenger location form at least 24 hours before travel, and all of these documents you do have to present along with your negative PCR test to the airline representative upon checking, boarding, and when you do arrive in Guyana. And the passenger locator form and any more information you can find on guyanatravel.gy. This is actually a site that was done by our Guyana Civil Aviation Organization for our main ports of entries through air into Guyana. So we're actually going to start our trip in Georgetown, Guyana, which is the capital city of the country. Here you're going to meet the biggest melting pot of all our different ethnic groups, from African, East Indian, indigenous peoples, Chinese, Portuguese, Europeans, and we do have a lot of mixed people in Guyana, which is 2 or 3 different types of ethnic races that came together to make one beautiful person. And in Guyana, you're gonna learn a lot of what the locals do, a lot of our traditions here, and see a lot of the historical architecture. Georgetown is slightly different than the rest of the country. Anywhere else on the coast is slightly different than the rest of the country. While we are found in South America, we do have a very unique and distinctive Caribbean feel, especially in Georgetown, and that is due to our history of being a nation that was once ruled by the British. So like in this picture, you'll be able to experience some of that colonial architecture that was established pre-independence and that we still remain intact up to today. This image on the left is St. George's Cathedral. It is the tallest freestanding wooden building in the world, and it's made completely out of wood. It was actually recently refurbished this year, so anyone that comes for 2021 will be lucky enough to see a very, very immaculate building. On the right, this is the seawall. This is a wall that was built by the Dutch to help, because Guyana is under sea level, it's to help prevent flooding in the city and along the coast. And this actually runs from the top of the country all the way down along that coastline. In Georgetown, it's used as a popular spot for running, jogging, for hanging out in the evenings when there was no COVID, and also just getting together with your family or having a good afternoon out as well. Although we are a city or a town area, we do have a lot of greenery everywhere you look. So you can visit the National Zoo, the National Park, and start your nature adventure there with some areas and instances of green. This is the Promenade Gardens or the promenade in the National Zoo here in Guyana, where a lot of locals go to take out portraits and pictures, have picnics, or even just go to the local zoo here. Any trip to any country is not complete without food, and Georgetown is the perfect place to get the traditional Guyanese cuisine. And this is a mix of Caribbean dishes that have that Guyanese and South American influence. One of our biggest things that we love here in Guyana is hot pepper or hot sauce. No meal is actually complete without it. And Guyana has a lot of local fresh fruits, vegetables, and fishes just out from the sea because we are so close to the coast. Now, before we step into the rainforest and into the other types of accommodation, Georgetown is a place that will have various types of accommodation that you can enjoy. We do have a mix of the colonial style hotels, boutique hotels, and also the more luxurious five-star hotels such as the Marriott, or the semi-luxurious boutique hotels such as Pegasus Hotel with the poolside. Some of our favorite accommodations right now that you can visit are Cara Lodge, Herdman Sun Lodge, and Pegasus Hotel. But we also do have a Marriott. There is also Grand Coastal Hotel, as well as Status International Hotel, and a lot of others in that city area. We are looking in the next years to welcome a Hilton and a possible Hyatt and a Radisson to Guyana. So that will also add to some of the great accommodations that you can also have here on the coast. From Georgetown, one of your first stops will be the Essequibo region. The Essequibo region is just about an hour and a half to 2 hours by road, and then another hour by boat along the longest river in Guyana, which is also the third longest in South America, and this is called the Essequibo River. For a tourism circuit, we usually just call it the Essequibo Circuit. Here you can see a lot of the Dutch remains that we have, including Fort Zeelandia and the Court of Policy. And this was built by the Dutch pre-independence when they were now fighting the British over the right to Guyana, which was then British Guyana when the British won. In the Essequibo region, you'll be greeted by a lot of nature-style island resorts. While we are not an island destination, we do still have a lot of riverine resorts and those that take that island style vibe. These businesses here are now fall under our safe for travel or safe to reopen policy at the GTA. So that means that they have been inspected and they have been outfitted and prepared to welcome travelers in with special hygiene and sanitation policies in relation to COVID. So these include Baganara Island Resort, where you can have a relaxing experience, just learning a bit more about the country, learning how to just have a nice island afternoon. You can play pools and table tennis under their main area, and you can also go kayaking, swimming around that area as well. There's Huaracaba River Resort, which gives you a slightly bit more rustic style than Baganara Island Resort, but it is very comfortable accommodation, and you can do things like jet skiing. You can also visit around the area, that you can go on a nature walk as well. One of the highlights for a lot of people is actually Sloth Island Resort. That is at the top right-hand corner. And it does have a very similar feel to all these other nature resorts. They are more island style, very open, but it also has one of the biggest draws for this area is it is an island that is well known for its sloths. So sloths are what many people would say one of the slower animals in the world, but they are also one of the cutest animals in the world. And you do have a very high chance of seeing them on Sloth Island. That was actually the reason they ended up naming the resort after that. And they also do have a mini canopy walkway that you can walk through. It's just about a 10-minute walk that you can see the rainforest more in person here. One of our other riverine nature resorts, it's actually not on the Essequibo area, but it's very close to Georgetown in the Damarara River, which is our smallest river. This is just about an hour's drive away from the city. It's Arrow Point Nature Resort. This resort offers things like kayaking, swimming, You can do a bike trail, a nature trail as well, and you can learn about the the indigenous culture that's actually not that far off from this resort in a village called Santa Arata. Here you can learn about craft making and also buy some of the local craft that their persons would have done. Now I want to highlight some of the two circuits that are one of the biggest draws for a lot of travelers to come to Guyana. And this is the North Rupununi and the Central and South Rupununi areas. The North Rupununi is classified primarily by our indigenous community-led and owned tourism products, which is focused a lot around rainforest, nature, and wildlife. This shot is the Canopy Walkway, which is found in the Iwokrama Forest, but located at Atta Lodge. This is a bridge that's suspended about 100 meters off the ground, and you can actually walk among the trees and see wildlife and bird life. It's a great place for bird watching, especially early in the mornings and late in the afternoons. And if you have a drone, it takes awesome pictures like this. The North Rupununi, like I mentioned, is categorized primarily by rainforest, rainforest and rivers. And here you would find a lot of the type of wildlife that are more endemic to this area, such as the caiman. We do have a black caiman, spectacle caiman, as well as a dwarf caiman. You can see snakes like the anaconda, birds like the harpy eagle. You can see mammals such as the giant river otter, to some extent the giant anteater, and some of the more species that we call the giants of Guyana, and even the very minute species that it's hard to find in other places of the world. Some of the places that are now open for travelers to come is the Rewa Eco Lodge. This is located at the confluence of the Rupununi and the Rewa River. This was actually one of the second lodges to start up community-led and owned tourism. And in addition to going on wildlife spotting and bird watching trips and nature walks in the area, or even learning about the local indigenous life here, one of the special draws of this place is their sport fishing. They're a big sport fishing destination for a lot of travelers that would like to come to Guyana. And they are also the only place in Guyana that is licensed to do catch and release fishing of the arapaima species. And the arapaima is the largest scaled freshwater fish in the world. I know you might be curious to see what the inside of these lodges look like as well. While they're very basic accommodation, they're also very comfortable accommodation. And most of these accommodation also are very eco-friendly and sustainable because they try to use as much as they can from the environment to give you that full nature feel. So this is actually what a standard room looks like at Atta Lodge. I do not have a picture of the bathroom here, but their bathroom is a semi-outdoor bathroom for both Atta Lodge and Rewa Lodge, where you can actually take a shower and look up at the stars in the night. And that's definitely an experience that I would recommend you have. Iwokrama River Lodge, not that far off from Atta Lodge, I think it's only about a half an hour to a 45-minute drive, is actually started out as a research center. So they are the body that governs the Iwokrama Rainforest Reserve, which is a patch of protected rainforest in the Guyana rainforested area. At Iwokrama River Lodge, you welcome a lot of scientific education and volunteer travelers and a lot of researchers that are looking into the biodiversity species here in Guyana. They also have their own pet caiman. His name is Sankar, and you can see him on the bottom left-hand corner here. But don't be intimidated. He definitely is one of the friendlier ones, I've been told. Just don't tease him in any way. But he's definitely there that you can take and you can stand on the bank and snap a picture of him. Now that we're leaving the North Rupununi, which is predominantly rainforest based, and in the middle of Guyana, we're going to come all the way down to the south to what we call the Central and South Rupununi region of the country. And this is primarily where we have these savanna landscapes. So this image was actually taken just as you're leaving the north and entering into the central and south. You can see that it's where that divide happens between the more forested areas and when you're coming into the more grassland landscapes. But it's gonna have just the same amazing experiences. Here are some of our lodges that are now ready to welcome travelers. Our Rockview Lodge. This is located just at the beginning of the Central and South Rupununi from the North Rupununi. And here you can do things like horseback riding. You can have nature mountain treks. These are not too forested treks. They're more savanna landscapes. And you'll get the full heat of the Guyanese sun, tropical weather on you. But when you get back to the lodge, you'll be able to have a nice cool shower and talk about some of those amazing life experiences you have. They also do have a pool here, which due to COVID protocols, it's not open at this time. But after this period of time when things are a bit more calm, that will be open for travelers as well. They do also have a nice mix of the ranch style as well as the treehouse style in architecture. So it's great for any photos, any types of experiences that need photos, and they do have a very good cook here also. The last lodge or ranch on our stop will be Waikin Ranch. So this is more into the Central South area. It's located just a 35-minute ride from Latham. So if you are in Guyana for a very short period of time, even if you're on a business trip or on a personal family trip or just for any other purpose, and it's primarily in Georgetown, and you can only visit one of our eco lodges and ranches, Waikin will definitely be the most accessible to you. It is about 35 minutes out of Latham, and there are direct flights from Latham to Georgetown going. So we also do have some destination management companies and tour operators that have been given that safe approval or safe for travel stamp by the GTA. And the only destination management company in Guyana is Wilderness Explorers. They have been around for quite some time, I think just over 25 years in country. And they have been recently giving that stamp of approval for safe travel in Guyana. They also have, due to the current situation, they have amended some of their booking terms and conditions. So when you are calling or inquiring about a trip, if you're planning a trip with them, no deposit is required to hold a reservation. You get free cancellation or date of change up to 30 days prior to travel. A 30% deposit is required at 30% days prior to travel, and the balance 7 days prior to travel. Full refund or travel credit will be given if the trip has to be canceled due to any circumstance surrounding COVID-19. The tour size will be restricted to COVID-19 safe family and travel pods or specifically designed travel bubbles. While a lot of our businesses were eager to open up because with the pandemic that stopped travel, a lot of their businesses were out of travel and they couldn't support the communities or their staff as much as they used to before. They are also the industry that is very cautious about what is happening here. So they're taking all the precautions of safety, of travel bubbles, to make sure that any trip that comes to Guyana, any traveler that they have to cater to leaves here happy, healthy, and safe, and their teams are also safe. You can also contact Elite Kayaking and Nature Tours or Dagron Tours. Elite Kayaking and Nature Tours does focus a bit more in the Georgetown area, but they also can do expansions if required and if working with a company that necessarily needs one. Dagron Tours offer trips to the Essequibo River region. They do dabble into the North and South Rupununi from time to time, and they also do trips to Kaichor Falls. Wanderlust Adventures Guyana is one of our newer tour operators here in country, and it was great that they also were able to get this safer travel stamp within a year that they actually started and had this pandemic hit them in their first within their first year of business. So they offer trips that are tied to a wanderlust adventure. They offer hikes and rainforest treks. Most of them are done not too far out from the Georgetown region, but they can expand depending on what your needs are. And when you do have that conversation with them, they'll be able to guide you as to what they can provide and accommodate as well. For more information, you can visit GuyanaTourism.com. That is the official destination site of Guyana, and it's owned and operated and monitored by the Guyana Tourism Authority. We are the governmental agency responsible for product development and general marketing of the Guyana tourism product. You can also visit fag.co. This is the website link to the Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana. It is a private sector membership-based organization for the tourism sector. You can also visit www.visitrupununi.com, which is the regional destination management organization for the Rupununi region of Guyana. For more information on traveling to Guyana, please visit guyanatravel.gy. And for more information on the main airport you might have to travel into, which is the Chetty Jagan International Airport, please visit cgairport-gy.com. And lastly, if you are interested in investment opportunities into the country, you can visit goinvest.gov.gy.
And talking about advice of visiting Guyana, what are the rules pertaining to your vaccines? Here's some information coming out from the Guyana News Source. A big thank you to them. And I thought this might be very interesting and very useful for you, so you'll be able to follow, so you won't have the frustration when you arrive into Guyana what you need to do.
The aviation sector now, with Trinidad and Tobago reopening its airports fully, regional carrier Caribbean Airlines has announced the launch of a once-per-week service between Port of Spain and Trinidad and Guyana's Eugene F. Correa Airport at Ogle. According to Caribbean Airlines, the flights will operate on Fridays only. Trinidad and Tobago has strict requirements for arriving passengers, with it being compulsory for arriving passengers to be fully vaccinated with a World Health Organization approved vaccine. Those arriving passengers are also required to present a negative COVID-19 PCR test result. Guyana also has a vaccine requirement in place for arriving non-Guyanese nationals from Trinidad and Tobago.
And with that, here's where I want to say thank you very much for being a part of me today and a part of the show. Feel free to like, subscribe, do leave a comment if you'd like. I'll be happy to respond. Along with the Guyana Tourism Authority, if you do need any information, please contact, if you're in America, contact Emerging Destinations with Jenna at Emerging Destinations. They'll be happy to advise you, along with the Guyana Tourism Authority, which is very, very much. Anytime you go to Guyana, please do contact the Guyana Tourism Authority. If you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to go, they'll be happy to advise. And a very big thank you to Guyana News Source for the information provided. Until we meet again, Carl Brown saying, yes, it's been a pleasure. I did enjoy every moment, always being with you, and we keep in touch. So until we meet again, peace out and be good.